Good evening. Look out upon any rugged pasture, high mountain slope, or arid scrubland, and you'll see them. The quiet grazer, the gentle follower, the often understated domestic sheep. Tonight, we are delving into the full, comprehensive history of this indispensable mammal, the domestic sheep, Ovis aries. This creature is not just an efficient livestock animal. It is a creature that has been a textile engine, a religious archetype, a marvel of anatomical engineering, and the very foundation of human-settled civilization for millennia. We will trace its journey from the rocky uplands of the Fertile Crescent to its contemporary status as the world's most versatile source of fiber and protein, detailing the facts, the fascinating physiology, and the enduring scientific conjectures that surround this quiet icon. The wild ancestral sheep is a creature of high exposed territory. Its nearest ancestor is the Asiatic mouflon, Ovis orientalis, native to the mountains of Western and Central Asia. They chose rocky areas, dry plains, and rugged uplands because these provided necessary vigilance, sparse vegetation, and elevated ground safe from predators like wolves and big cats. This preference for group cohesion and efficient foraging is the key to understanding its total subordination to human pastoralism. The sheep we see today is an utterly dependent population, the descendant of early Neolithic flocks. These animals exhibit extreme neoteny, retention of juvenile traits, and behavioral conservatism. They have lost the seasonal shedding patterns of their ancestors and amplified their natural flocking instinct. They simply recognize that our vast fenced pastures and corrals are perfect anthropogenic uplands. A maintained field offers the same reliable, open grazing and protection as their ancestral ranges. Their fidelity to the flock minimizes individual predation risk and allows them to perform essential biological functions, mimicking the safety of their ancestral herds. The Ovis genus originally comprised numerous wild species, each adapted to its specific regional climate, morphology, and diet. For instance, the bighorn sheep, Ovis canadensis of North America, is characterized by massive horns and extreme athleticism, necessary for scaling precipitous cliffs and escaping predators. The argali, Ovis ammon, of Central Asia, is the largest wild sheep, adapted to vast high-altitude steppes. Sadly, due to widespread human intervention, the domestic sheep now comprises over 1,000 genetically distinct breeds, often optimized exclusively for a single trait, such as the fine, crimped wool of the merino or the large, meat-yielding frame of the Suffolk. True, genetically unmanipulated domesticated sheep are a rarity. Their current status is a testament to thousands of years of human genetic engineering. Conservation efforts are now focused on maintaining genetic diversity within the domestic stock, which is critical for future climate adaptability. The sheep is primarily a grazer, a consumer of short grasses and forbs. However, its digestive system is uniquely designed for efficiency, allowing it to extract maximal nutrition from low-quality, high-cellulose plant matter. This adaptability is amplified by its specialized dental structure, a dental pad instead of upper incisors, which allows it to clip vegetation very close to the ground, giving it an advantage over cattle. Its capacity to perform yeast fermentation is another advantage, allowing it to efficiently break down fibers that are indigestible to monogastric animals. This efficient use of low-input resources is what allowed human settlements to thrive in environments unsuitable for crop cultivation. They are simply perfectly engineered to utilize the ecological niche created by marginalized land. The history of sheep domestication, dating back 11,000 years, starting in the Zagros Mountains of Iraq, Iran, is central to the history of settled civilization. Early human farmers, in the Neolithic period, were struggling to secure a reliable, non-seasonal food supply. They needed an undeniable living resource that could provide not only meat, but also hide and fiber. They found their answer in the wild mouflon. Their comprehensive modification began with simple herding. And throughout the following millennia, expert herders, whom we can call the first applied geneticists, used meticulous generational selective processes to create such varied forms. They aimed for two main outcomes: loss of seasonal shedding for continuous wool harvest, and fat storage in the tail or body cavity for caloric banking. In the very structure of the early human economy, the sheep dedicates significant space, using it to introduce the concept of controlled selection. We argue that if human will, acting with conscious selection and intention over just a few millennia, could produce such staggering diversity in fiber quality, body structure, and fat storage, from the fleece of the merino to the massive fat tail of the Ovis sheep, then the selection process, fueled by necessity, was infinitely powerful and creative. The sheer scale of utility available in sheep breeds provided the most reliable pathway out of nomadic life. Let us examine three main categories of traits selected against, reflecting the cost of domestication. Fiber coat. The ancestral mouflon has a coat of coarse hair with an underlayer of soft wool that sheds annually. The domestic sheep is bred to retain its wool permanently, requiring human intervention, shearing, to prevent overheating. The merino is the extreme example, bred for fine, heavily crimped wool, sacrificing natural shedding for maximal fiber yield. This selection demonstrates a complete override of natural selection's preference for functional thermoregulation. Defense skeletal structure. The wild ancestor is agile and possesses horns for defense and hierarchy. The majority of modern female sheep, and many males, are polled, hornless. And the animals have lost the speed and vigilance necessary to escape predators. The selection for docility and hornlessness is an aesthetic and safety trait purely for human husbandry efficiency. These features would be immediately selected against in the wild due to the survival penalties they incur. Performance behavior. The flocking instinct is genetically enhanced to the point of dependency. A single domestic sheep isolated from the flock experiences extreme stress and is highly vulnerable to attack. This singular focus on group cohesion, a trait that provides zero individual defense, makes them easy for humans to manage and herd. Human needs weaponized a natural social instinct, turning the sheep into a bioeconomic unit. The sheep's most convincing evidence of its biological genius lies in its digestive anatomy. They are ruminancing, possessing a four-chambered stomach, the most crucial of which is the grumen. This complex system is the true engine of human history. The rumen is essentially a massive fermentation vat, capable of holding up to 10 gallons, where food is processed before true digestion begins. This proves that the digestive timing is not set by enzyme action. It is instead governed by a massive, symbiotic ecosystem of anaerobic bacteria, protozoa, and fungi. The key to their survival is the production of a continuous supply of usable energy from fiber, a physiological process that has no true parallel in most mammals. It is induced by the constant intake of forage. The sheep performs rumination, commonly known as chewing the cud, where partially fermented food is regurgitated, rechewed to break down the fiber, and then swallowed again. The resulting efficiency is a product of microbial symbiosis. The microorganisms in the rumen break down the highly complex cellulose, plant fiber, into very volatile fatty acids, which the sheep can absorb through the rumen wall and use as its primary energy source. Furthermore, these microorganisms also produce all the essential amino acids, protein building blocks, that the sheep needs. This means the sheep can sustain itself purely on low-protein forage, since the microbes themselves become the primary protein source when they are eventually flushed into the stomach, abomasum, and digested. The production of this sustained energy requires a delicate biological balance. The sheep's body must constantly neutralize the massive amounts of methane gas produced by the fermentation, which is expelled through burping. The intensity of this process is governed by the quality of the diet. This ingenious self-sustaining process ensures the sheep efficiently converts marginal grassland into highly available energy and protein, a unique economic marvel. The lamb receives pure milk at birth, and the rumen is functionally sterile. It slowly develops its microbial population over the first few weeks, often by grazing and eating its mother's feces. The young rely on the mother's milk until the rumen is fully functional, at which point the lamb can begin to digest fiber. This finely tuned nutritional transition, from a sterile milk-fed baby to a microbial-fueled grazing machine, is what allowed early farmers to maximize their use of land unsuitable for crops. The inherent social cohesion and memory of Ovis aries was utilized by every pastoral civilization across Eurasia for millennia. They were the primary means of economic value and trade. Early examples include their role in early Mesopotamian economies, where they served as currency, the establishment of the global wool trade by the Romans, and their integration into many religious texts. The use of wool as the primary fiber for clothing defined class and wealth throughout the ancient and medieval worlds. The international importance of sheep-shaped geopolitics fueled the enclosures in England and formed the basis of wealth for nations like Australia and New Zealand. The sport of a sheepdog trials is a highly technical, multi-million-dollar international industry. Champion dogs, possessing a potent blend of genetics, rigorous training, and impeccable herding skills, are treated as elite athletes and commodities. The dog's success relies entirely on manipulating the sheep's innate flocking instinct, centripetal force, and flight response, centrifugal force. The shepherd, through the dog, demonstrates total control over the flock's movement across hundreds of miles of open land. Sheep survival relies heavily on complex spatial conditioning and a specific method called eye facial recognition. This is not a human trait. Studies using magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, have demonstrated that sheep possess dedicated neural pathways for processing faces, allowing them to recognize and differentiate between dozens of individual sheep and humans, even from photographs, for over 2 years. This creates an intense, powerful social memory, ensuring they follow the correct leader and stay in the correct herd, which is essential for managing large-scale flocks. The competitive, high-stakes nature of modern ecology has mandated the integration of advanced technologies. Modern flocks are tracked using satellite link to GPS, collage, and sophisticated ear tag sensors, ensuring accuracy to meters. Furthermore, the species must contend with climate fragility. There is increasing evidence that rising temperatures, altered rainfall patterns, and the resulting change in forage quality disrupt ancient grazing patterns, leading to vulnerability. Organizations like the FAO are now attempting to implement strict genetic preservation measures, using DNA data to maintain the integrity of the population and the health of the breeds. During times of drought, the sheep's ingenuity is challenged. It survives by using its unique physiology. The deep fermentation in its stomach serves to retain water. This practice, known as ixinderdokiem, host tolerance, cemented the sheep's role as the single most powerful symbol of patient sustenance and efficient survival in harsh landscapes. The sheep's sensory system is an astonishing, layered blend of internal knowledge and social awareness, often referred to as a social and olfactory system. This system is not a single sense but a highly redundant backup network. The compass direction uses the sun's position, requiring a precise internal clock, and landmarks, peaks, river valleys. This sensory data tells the sheep the high pasture is this way. The map, location. This is the system that tells the sheep safe grazing is near the group. The leading conjecture for this map remains the bipheromonal trail hypothesis, where the sheep uses scent markers and the immediate proximity of others to locate its position and maintain group cohesion. The social compass is not fully understood, but two primary mechanisms are theorized. The extreme acuity of their lateral vision, nearly 300 degrees, allowing them to see almost entirely behind themselves without turning their head, and the complex behavior of alarm calls, a low, breathy bleat. This theory suggests that the sheep can literally sense the status of the entire flock at a glance, which explains why they move as one near instantaneously in response to a threat. Beyond navigation, sheep have demonstrated cognitive abilities previously thought exclusive to higher social mammals. The classic test involves emotional recognition. Researchers have successfully demonstrated that sheep can distinguish between neutral and distressed facial expressions in other sheep, and that the sight of a distressed face causes a physiological stress reaction in the observer. This suggests a capacity for empathy and social understanding, a major finding that fundamentally changed how we view the intelligence of livestock animals. Sheep exhibit advanced spatial learning, demonstrating they remember which ewes know where the best resources are. Most remarkably, they can learn and apply avoidance behaviors over immense periods, remembering the location of a traumatic experience, e.g., being cornered by a dog, for years, confirming a level of emotional memory that contradicts historical stereotypes. They are capable of categorization, distinguishing between safe and unsafe forage, and even rudimentary pathfinding, all skills that suggest a highly sophisticated cognitive system tailored for group survival. The large cohesive flock is a strategy for survival known as the jade dilution effect. While a flock is easier to spot, it dramatically reduces the statistical chance of a single animal being the target of a predator. The individual sheep's best survival strategy is to constantly maneuver to remain in the safer, less exposed interior mass of the group. Studies show that when a predator attacks, sheep at the edges are statistically much more likely to be taken. Within the family unit, there is a clear dominance hierarchy. established through head-butting rituals, pushing, and passive deference. Dominant sheep gain priority access to the best feeding and resting spots, ensuring the most fit individuals gain energy and are better able to reproduce. Sheep also display impressive herbal self-medication. They have been observed to seek out and consume specific plants containing secondary metabolites when infected with parasites, demonstrating complex knowledge of pharmacological foraging in their environment. The iconic constant grazing motion is not just a quirky habit. It's a profound energy processing necessity. The sheep performs a clip and ferment cycle. The head remains low and stable while the animal clips vegetation, minimizing exposure time. The food is quickly swallowed to begin the fermentation process in the rumen. Later, during periods of rest, the animal will lie down to ruminate, chew its cud, which is when the real digestion and nutrient breakdown occurs. This intermittent processing is a necessity because it allows the sheep to maximize the use of its specialized digestive system. The famous bleating is the primary form of non-visual communication. The female's distinct maternal bleat is used to locate her lamb, and the lamb's unique distress bleat is used to signal separation. Beyond vocalizations, they use subtle communication cues. The powerful scent of lanolin, the complex grease produced by the wool, creates a specific loud olfactory marker, which is used as a flock identifier to alert the rest of the species to the general status of the group. The recent proliferation of large predators, like wolves, in areas of European rewilding has triggered a behavioral shift in domestic sheep. They are observed using tighter formations and seeking better protective cover, demonstrating complex, near-instantaneous coordination to evade attack. The sheer instinctual response and cohesion of these movements, the result of millennia of dealing with apex predators, is a testament to their deep evolutionary programming. The legacy of the sheep in human culture remains one of the most heroic and complex chapters of the Ovis Aries story. It has been revered as a symbol of innocence and sacrifice. Its role in the story of Abraham and the sacrificial lamb cemented its position in Abrahamic religions. In ancient Greece, the story of Jason and the golden fleece elevated the animal's fiber to the status of ultimate treasure, symbolizing royalty and authority. Following the Industrial Revolution, the animal's image was heavily politicized. The shepherd became the global symbol of care, devotion, and guardianship, solidifying the sheep's status as a fundamental partner in civilization. The negative modern epithet, stupid or blind follower, is a product of misunderstanding its highly specialized social intelligence, not a factual reflection of the sheep's capacity. The risk is largely based on the human perspective of an animal that prioritizes group safety over individual action. The main human issues, grazing disputes, fence breaking, are overwhelmingly contracted only by individuals who fail to understand their profound need for social order and spatial management. Casual avoidance of their instinct presents negligible risk to the general public. The fear is a social conjecture that far outweighs the scientific fact. The sheep is far more likely to suffer from human management errors, disease, and parasitic load than it is to cause us harm. The term pest largely arose as conservationists struggled with ecosystem management. The sheep, a highly visible grazer, became an easy target to blame for broader ecological issues that were actually caused by poor land management and uncontrolled grazing pressure. The perception endures, but the science does not support its exclusion from land management. It simply requires more careful stewardship. We have covered the full panorama of the domestic sheep's life, from the fundamental physics of its digestion and multi-layered social system to its critical role in the history of economics and human spirituality. It is a creature of ancient loyalty, biological genius, and profound resilience. This is an animal that deserves our respect, not our dismissal. It is a living, breathing testament to the power of symbiosis, the persistence of life, and the enduring connection between humans and the agricultural world. The next time you see a flock of sheep, remember the textile factory, the spiritual icon, and the chemical processor, a constant companion on humanity's journey. Thank you.